Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I pray that you are having a wonderful and blessed day and not allowing what is happening in the world to overwhelm you to the point that you are not focusing on what Father in heaven needs you to do. What I want to do is share with you some things that Father in heaven has helped me with in my life, in my journey of understanding how to work with things that are less, as far as when I'm low on supply of food, when I'm low on supply of money, or just in general with things that are low in the house for me and my son to eat. And so let me start. When the coronavirus first started, Father in heaven had started talking to me about purchasing flour. And he was really adamant about me getting a lot of flour. And he was telling me, get 2 big bags of flour, get a lot of flour. And so as I was in the market, I was getting, food. This was the time when me and my son was still going out to the market. I was getting food and things that I needed for the house. I told my son, I said, I have to get some flour. Father told me to get 2 big bags of flour. So normally what I do, I said, just buy 1 bag of flour. But I decided that, when Father is telling you something to do, you don't say, should I get one? No, I get exactly what Father in heaven is telling me to get, because he knows the road ahead of me. I don't. And so I got the 2 bag of flour. And as time went on, I started getting low on food. And then I didn't want to go out because, as I share on my other recordings, I have a son with autism. And a lot of times my son will bite his nails. And so when we were first going out, we didn't have the proper protection as far as masks and gloves. So what I was doing was just tying scarves around our noses and putting on like cleaning gloves that we have around the home. And it was a little difficult to walk around with that. But at that time, I just said, I'm not going to be going back out there. I'm just going to do exactly what Father in heaven is leading me to do and how to handle everything. And so as we got short in food, I started trying to figure out what to do. I got into a little panic mode because I kept saying, I don't have eggs, I have no milk, so I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make this. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so Father started telling me, like, go online and start looking for ingredients that are actually low in ingredients, meaning you don't need a lot of ingredients to make certain things to eat. And so I've always been like the kind of person who have always been addicted to tortillas. And so I came across the Yumily website, and it was saying about this particular recipe that this young lady shared about making flour tortillas. And it didn't require a lot of ingredients, and just a small amount of ingredients that you did not need to make these tortillas. And as you can see, it's very limited ingredients, very easy to make. And anything that I'm going to share with you today on this recording, I have already made it myself, and it has came out perfect, and it has worked for me and my son. My son is a picky eater, and so he really, really loved these tortillas a lot. And so after finding that particular recipe, I needed to find something else to go with if I'm making soup or something, because I didn't have any bread, but I was making the tortillas. And sometimes trying to prepare a meal and then make the tortillas, they don't take long at all. They take very short, but it's the fact that you have to do the dough and make sure the dough is right and following the proper ingredients of what the young lady was sharing. You want to make sure you just follow exactly what she's saying, and it will come out as fast as she says. It came out perfect. So I came across another recipe on the same website, and it was how to make these biscuits. And I was like really shocked that I really didn't need a lot of ingredients, and I just needed flour and some other ingredients, really small and simple ingredients to go with it. So it didn't really require a lot of ingredients. So I was happy that I came across this particular one too, and I was like, this is perfect. I can make biscuits for me and my son. And my son really loved it. He really fell in love with it. And what I was doing was putting like salad dressing or mayonnaise with a little garlic, and then some food that we were eating, like vegetable stew or vegetable soup, to go with it, because we didn't really have any bread. And from there, and I didn't have any chips, because a lot of times my son, he likes to take chips and crunch them up in his soup, or if he's eating like chicken, he likes to eat it with chicken, or that's just the way he likes to eat his food. And so I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure I had something for him. And so then I started saying, gosh, I need to find other stuff. And so I started just listening to what Father was telling me. And he was saying there are so many things that you can make with less ingredients. And he started telling me, you can make so much or put certain things into stuff that will come out cooking just as well as if you had eggs. So I remember I had these two cake boxes in the house, but I had no milk, I had no eggs, I had, you know, just basically no eggs because it did require milk. It required water, a little oil, and then it required eggs. And I didn't have any eggs. And I kept saying, man, I want to bake these cakes, but I don't have any eggs to go with it. And so Father just started reminding me to go online and look for things. And so eventually I said, you know what? Let me go online and look for ingredients as a substitute for eggs. And I came around to this young lady's website, not website, but her YouTube page. It's a YouTube page for vegans. And it's a young lady's recording of substitutes for eggs. If you're a person that don't want eggs in your food, these are the particular things that you can use. And so she was showing, as you can see in the screenshot, how to use these different ingredients. Now you can go to the YouTube page. I'm going to just share clippings of it because I don't have the recording on here, but there is clippings of the screenshots of the pages that you can go to and get the information you need to get about how to make stuff with less ingredients or substitution for things that you want to make and you may not have in your kitchen. And so I came across this particular one and I was really happy to come across this one, and it helped out a lot. So what I did is I used the banana. Now I've used applesauce before, but not baking. I've used it for putting it in smoothies. Applesauce is really good for putting like with smoothies and mixing it with certain fruits and then cutting up like your favorite vegetable, especially if you have children and you want them to eat more vegetables in the smoothies. But I have used applesauce, and I didn't know applesauce you can use it with baking. And so then I decided I needed to find like some other stuff to cook because I don't have, like, sometimes you may have half of the ingredients, but you might have pancakes here. And I came across this other young lady's website, and she was talking about how her and her family, what they do is they take pancakes and bake it in the oven. And so I didn't know you can take pancakes and bake it in the oven. And so I've done that. And I said, well, I don't have cake mix, but I have icing and I have pancakes and I can bake it in the oven. So once I baked the pancakes in the oven, it came out fine, and I put the icing over it. My son really loved it. And so after finding that, for me, I'm a person who have hypertension. And so I have to limit my amount of salt intake. But I don't have all the things that I normally eat because of my hypertension. So I have to watch what I'm eating. So Father started guiding me into finding the things that I needed for my hypertension because I have to monitor it on what I'm eating. And normally I get like fresh vegetables from the store, or either I used to get fresh vegetables from Costco. They used to have this company that used to sell fresh vegetables, but I can't find the company on their website. But they also, sell like meat, like they'll ship you meat, they'll ship you, produce, certain produce. So then I started looking for things that was low in sodium, and there were so many things that I came across on the website that I would normally surpass and just look for items that says unsalted, no salt added. And so I came across these particular onions here. They're like onions that are already cooked. They're already, cooked, and you can sprinkle them over your food. And I started looking what the salt intake was on them, and it's very, very low. And I said, this is fine. And then I started coming across these beans in a can here. And I started saying, man, I'm finding things that I normally wouldn't eat. And so anytime I would look at things, I would talk to Heavenly Father about what to get. And he would tell me, like, get this and get this. He would say yes, no, because he knows how to prepare and he knows the ingredients in it. So there's no need for me to question. And his other main thing that he wanted me to get a lot is, and still get a lot, is chicken broth. And I was finding chicken broth that was unsalted, and then I started finding broth that wasn't unsalted, but I found broth that didn't have any salt in it, that has no flavor, because this particular one you see on the screen, you don't taste any salt. And then I came across the Hunt's tomato paste that is zero, it's unsalted. And so I came across that, and so I started coming across a lot of other stuff that was very helpful for me to make and very helpful for me to cook. And of course, like, you have Mrs. Dash and cumin and all the seasoning that you can use to make things. But I started coming across so many things and the on the store that I didn't know didn't have a lot of salt. So I'm very adamant on watching my intake, and then I needed to find a way to just stay healthy. And then, as I mentioned before, I had a situation where I was low in food. And so Father had showed me this particular young lady about how to make your celery eatable even after it goes bad. And I found this way to how to help limp celery to, you put it in water, ice water, and you let it sit, and it gets back to being eatable. And then I came across this particular idea. This was years ago. A young lady shared about how you can pop popcorn in a paper bag. And I came across this particular one. Or it may have been another young lady. But I just wanted to share something quickly with you. And I hope all of this really help you with what you need when you're low on food. And there's just so many websites and so many YouTube channels you can come across that will help you understand how to cook things when you're low on ingredients. So I pray that this help you, and I pray that you go to God in heaven for any answers, even when it comes down to food. Nothing is limited when talking to your Father about the things that you need and the help that you need. So I pray this help you in so many ways. Have a blessed day and a wonderful one. Amen.